Hello and welcome to today's masterclass. Welcome to day one of the $1,000,000 Coaching Clients Challenge. I am your host, WildFlower, aka JD Wildflower in the business world, because when they quote my business advice in Forbes, they like the JD in front of it because it makes me sound a little bit more like the professor of marketing that I am. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about how to be efficient in your business as a coach, a mentor, a service provider. So when it comes to being a coach, there are many different ways that that wording can work. I often say that coaches are under the umbrella of mentors. So mentor is really the umbrella term, and then coaches, there's under the term mentor, we have coaches, consultants, experts, authors, speakers, and teachers. Okay. And pretty much all service providers that do some kind of a service with their intellectual property can really, benefit from what we're doing here today. So I'm going to just get jumped in here because today we have a lot to cover. Today is day one of the $1,000,000 Coaching Clients Challenge. And in today's masterclass, I'm going to be talking about how to work smarter, not harder, in your coaching or mentor business so that you can attract your destiny clients. Yes, destiny clients. They are out there. Your destiny clients are out there. It's just a matter of connecting with them because there's so much noise out there in the world, right? So it's about how to connect to them. And so we're going to be talking today about how to work smarter, not harder. Okay. And then we're also going to be talking about how to tell what the difference is between junk food business training. Okay. Junk food business training is the kind of business training where you watch it, you might feel good for a minute because you get a lot of dopamine because people are oftentimes really excited, right? They're like all kinds of hype. It's really exciting. And then you get off the master class or the mastermind or whatever it is, and you have no clue what to do because it's not implementable. Or maybe there's so much content there that that they're trying to fill space with some of this junk food business training, right? So they're trying to fill space and they give you like 5 minutes of actionable content. And the rest of it's just kind of filler nonsense. Well, times have changed, and you have come here for a reason. And how I teach is how I've been teaching. How I teach business development is how I've been teaching for over 20 years. So I'm going to get here into a little bit of my background, just in case you're just being introduced to my work here. I'm going to go over a little bit of my background and how I got to be doing what I'm doing right now, because actually I have technically been a business mentor for over 26 years at this point, just celebrated 26 years in business. And I've worked with some of the most famous people in the world behind the scenes, helping them to really build brand and launch businesses. My official title for the last 26 years has been a celebrity branding and global business growth specialist. So I've worked with a variety of companies and celebrities throughout the years. And let's see here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get jumped in here. I'm going to see if I can share my screen here and get this all set up and go from there. All right, we got it. Okay. So today we're talking about how to get coaching clients. Today we're talking about how to work smarter, not harder in your business so you can attract your destiny clients, and also how to tell what the difference is between junk food business training and professional business training. So I've been a professor of marketing and business development for over 20 years at this point. So professional business training, it's just plain and simply my background. I actually do not have like the ability to just like even do all the nonsense and the hype and stuff like that, and like even teach in a non-actionable way. Like I just don't. It's like not part of my DNA, because my background is business. So a little bit more about me in a nutshell. I am known as the Celebrity Empire Builder because I've been a celebrity branding and global business growth specialist. And a holistic success coach, especially in the celebrity world, and a maverick entrepreneur since 1997. So my client list includes Academy and Grammy winners, New York Times best-selling authors, and over 50 other brands, including Samsung, Dish Network, Polaris, US Bank, CenturyLink, ADT, and way too many more to mention right now. So I've been featured on NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox News, PBS. My business advisement and advice has been my business advice has been featured in Forbes, and I have been featured on the cover of Women's World magazine. So I've been in the global media space for over 2 decades, on some capacities behind the scenes and other capacities in front of the scenes. And here is a recent picture at the Grammys. I'm also a musician as well, lifelong musician here from Minneapolis, actually. And these days I'm based in Las Vegas and Minneapolis, and go back and forth between the two. So again, from the business perspective of things, not my first rodeo and nothing new here. I have been in the top 5% of all profiles viewed worldwide on LinkedIn for over a decade, actually. And as you can see here, there's an award that I got from LinkedIn about that. And there's the feature from Women's World magazine. Again, and some of my clients include Academy Award-winning actor Michael Douglas, supermodel Anna Nicole Smith, New York Times bestselling author Dan Sullen, and Spring Force Qigong founder Chun-Yi Lin, as well as, Net Zero, ADT, Dish Network, People PC, Samsung, US Bank, and quite a few others, right? I've had a long-standing career as a business advisor and consultant because, well, that's just kind of my jam. I am not a good cook. Okay. So that is, if you want a 5-course meal, go ahead and ask somebody else to do that. It's not going to be good if I do it, unless it's with an air fryer, because I'm actually pretty solid of a cook with an air fryer. But if it does not involve an air fryer, it's better to have somebody else do it. So business is my jam. So in a nutshell, I've been a celebrity branding and global business growth specialist since 1997. And these days you can see me featured on magazines, TV, radio, and a lot of different media sources. But it really wasn't always that way, because about a decade ago, I got burnt out as an entrepreneur. And in 2012, I actually ended up walking away from $1 million recording contract because I was so burnt out. And, I really needed to understand what was burning me out. And part of what I'm teaching these days, in terms of my business training institute at Mentors Tank Academy and $1 Million Mentor School, part of what I'm teaching is based on the real life experiences that I had of what happened to me. I've spent over $1 million on continuous training for myself and my staff because, even as a professor, I'm a lifelong learner. And so, what happened back in 2012 was that I was so focused on building my clients' star power, their celebrity expert authority status, and all of that I was in the background for a little while there. And, I was always so focused on helping them But it really took an ability it took a toll on my ability to really be able to scale my business. And at that time, I was doing all of the things that these so-called experts out there, right, are, tell you to do. So I was selling online products. I had a $27 weight loss product. I was doing one-off sessions with people. I was doing low end sessions to try to trickle people up, up that value ladder. I was doing too many one-on-one sessions. I was hosting low end conferences and retreats. And I was actually the number one keynote speaker at the Learning Annex in Minneapolis, as well as the number one local event conference producer, having created the Meet the Psychics, Meet the Healers Days conferences. And the thing is that depending on how your business model works, right? And at that time, for me, my business model was not, my business model was set up to burn me out. Basically, like that's the gist of it. So, I learned. I was doing all the things the so-called experts are telling you to do. I was building a podcast. I was building a blog, social media following. I mean, I've been involved in social media since before there was a social media, since all we had on social media in like the 90s was like the Yahoo groups, like the email message boards, right? So, I've been there, done that for a long time. And in 2012, when I got burnt out, I basically had no time for myself or my family. I just felt like I was like this business machine, and I just kept going and going and going, right? I was like that bunny, right? I was just going, going, going. You can only do that for so long. Okay. I'm just being real. You can only do that for so long before it really, before it really interrupts your life and your well-being. And it really did. That's what happened to me. I had no time for myself or my family. And so what I decided to do at that point was go back to the drawing board, because I knew that there had to be a better way to have a successful coaching and mentor business, and really have my mentor empire, my training empire, my thought leader empire, right? While having a life too. And it took me 2 years. It really did. I'm very methodical in what I do. I am a professor. Okay. So I'm very methodical. So it took me 2 years to really deconstruct what got me into burnout in the first place, and be able to understand it, because you can't always fix a problem until you thoroughly understand it, especially when it comes to business. Sometimes you can do what I call a Band-Aid business approach, where you can try something or experiment with something, but it was 2 years of trial and error, 2 years of experimentation, 2 years of throwing out low end offers, trying to get people to go up this whole value ladder thing, right? Which to me just really ended up being, it's like giving people appetizers instead of the main course. And, it was really frustrating for me, because I saw it working online for all these people, right? They're selling $27 products and they're like selling thousands of them. And I was like, why wasn't it working for me? Well, the thing is that it's a lot harder to get thousands and thousands of yeses than it is to get dozens, okay, at the ultra high end. So, I really deconstructed. And what I found at that time was that my business model and my business mindset were broken. Okay. I'm not perfect. This happened to me. The burnout happened. And so through that 2 years, I really finally created a method, so that I could have my time leveraging and sustainable experts business, right? While having a life too. And so from that, I created my VIP Global Client Formula, my Empire Builder Formula, my $1 Million Coach Formula. And in today's masterclass, I'm going to be, talking about how there is a better way to achieve your business goals and have a life too. And when it comes to star power, and when it comes to building celebrity status within your industry, it's a way to work smarter and not harder, because there is only so much time in the day, right? And so there's a certain point in time where you can't work any more than 24 hours in a day, right? So what do you do then? Well, that's when you got to get to strategy and not tactics. And when you have strategy without tactics, and you have tactics without strategy. See, most people are out there having strategy without tactics. Most people have either strategy without tactics or tactics without strategy. Okay. So, what does this mean, and how do you work smarter and not harder in your coaching or mentor business? Well, let's deconstruct first here what junk food business training is versus professional business training. And here's why this is pertinent. This is pertinent because if you're listening to the wrong advice about building your business, what you're doing is you're making your brain muddy. It's like you're taking mud and you're putting it on your brain. Or, I'll give you another example, which is a little bit easier to kind of picture. Glasses, right? So I can see through these, right? I'm seeing through them right now. But if you're listening to junk food business advice and you're looking at the lens of your business and creating your business and building your business empire from a pair of glasses that has mud on them, right? Maybe you can see through a little bit, right? But if you don't have clarity around what it is that you're doing with your business, then it's really hard to build something that'll actually work for you and not against you. So when it comes to building your business, if you're wearing the wrong glasses, if you're listening to a bunch of junk food business advice, what's going to happen is you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to try tactic after tactic after tactic. You'll probably have a lot of adrenaline, so you'll probably be really excited. But all that excitement doesn't add up to dollars at the end of the month. So because I've been a business mentor for over 25 years, because I've been a professor of marketing and business development for over 20 years, I approach business from the perspective of real world business principles and real world business advisement, which is based on strategy and tactics. You see, a lot of people these days are just doing tactics without having an overall arching strategy. So what's the difference? Well, tactics is what most people are out there teaching in regards to a coaching or mentor business. What do I mean by this? Tactics are posting on social media, creating videos, creating posts, creating calls to action, sending out emails, sending out newsletters. Let's see, what are some other tactics? Oh, speaking at conferences is another tactic. Going to networking events, going to mastermind events. These are all tactics. You see, it's an action that you're taking, right? Let's use like posting on social media as, an example tactic here. So that's one tactic, right? Posting on social media. Well, if you don't have an umbrella strategy that covers all of these different, that essentially creates a guideline for all of your tactics that you're deploying, what can often happen is burnout can happen, because when you're running a business and you're just deploying tactics without strategy, then, there's nothing to check in with. There's nothing to keep the checks and balances in place. And so oftentimes, especially with a lot of the online business training that's out there these days, which a lot of it is unfortunately what I call junk food business training. And the reason I call it junk food business training is because think about junk food, right? It can kind of feel good to eat it, right? I mean, depending on who you are. See, I stopped eating junk food in 2002. I made a commitment to my health in 2002 and have not eaten junk food since. Okay. So was that a feat? Yes. Okay. I'm not sitting here saying it was easy, but it was simple. It was simple, but it wasn't easy. So I made that commitment over 20 years ago myself to not eat junk food. So, but I remember back in the day, right, that like junk food can feel really good in the moment, but is it kind to who you are going to be tomorrow or the next day or the next year? Absolutely not. No, it might feel good in the moment, but it's not being kind to your future self. Do you see what I mean? So, junk food business training. What's junk food business training? Junk food business training. Oh, it feels good in the moment, doesn't it? It feels good sometimes, right? To go to a bunch of conferences, go to a bunch of online masterminds, go in all these little Zoom rooms and network and talk to people and be part of these training experiences where there's, a lot of people there. There can be a lot of excitement. And you know what? It can be fun until it's not. So when is it not? Well, when you're building a business, you're not looking, if you just wanted adrenaline and cortisol and dopamine hits, you'd watch TV, right? You'd watch some kind of TV show or a movie or a film or something like that to elicit a dopamine response from you or a cortisol response. But, business, what we want, what the point of business is to make money, right? Oh, shocker, in case you didn't realize that. Yes, it's true. It's just these days I've just seen so much hype out there, and I don't do hype. Okay. I don't do hype. And here's what I mean by that. Hype is like this overinflation, like super hyper people are just like super excited all the time. And I am just like, OMG, I can't even take it. I literally turn that kind of stuff off because business for me is about business. It's about making money and it's about being efficient. Why? Because you have lives to live, right? You have families, you have friends, you have hobbies, you have things that you want to do. And most of the business training online these days, especially in the coaching or experts or mentor industry, is junk food business training. Why? Why is this? Well, there's a number of reasons. The first reason is that the barriers to entry are so low to calling oneself an expert trainer that anybody can do it, right? If you have a smartphone, and you film a video and you put it on YouTube or you make a Facebook page or you do something like that, you too can call yourself an expert at business training, right? No, wrong. The thing is that there's people like me out there. I am creating standards in an industry where there have been no standards, okay? We have the Mentors Association that is a part of Mentors Tank. This is a part of my organization. Here's why I created the Mentors Association. I created the Mentors Association because I wanted to create a place that would be kind of like the BBB for the coaching, training, and resource industry. Okay. And now what qualifies me to do that? Well, I'm kind of a professor of marketing and business development and have been for over 20 years. I've also been an advertising agency executive for over 25 years as a business advisor and celebrity branding advisor to celebrities and Fortune 500 companies for many, many years, for decades. Okay. So, when it comes to, looking at and how to tell what is junk food business training, the first thing that you can do is look at the background of the person teaching it. Are they an actual teacher, or are they just a coach or a thought leader or an author who got lucky because maybe they had a lot of followers and they were like, oh, you know what? I see that this whole coaching industry training thing is like blowing up. I should do it too, right? That's what a lot of people are out there are saying. Or maybe they've had some success in their own coaching business, right? But just because you have success in your coaching business, it doesn't mean that you know how to teach it. Shocker, right? Right. Okay. To me, this is obvious, but I'm going to explain it to you. So to me, it's obvious, I'm a business professor, so but I'll explain it to you because I know that you're probably not. Maybe you are, but you're probably not. And so when it's a totally different part of your brain to do something and then to teach it, right? These are two different parts of your brain. Think about a director of a movie, right? They're behind the scenes, they're directing everybody. They're like, boom, 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 here, you guys go here, you go here, this camera here, this lighting here, these mics, let's make sure that all this is set up right. They're directing a movie, okay? That is like a lot of work. There's a lot of moving pieces, there's a lot of things going on. Now, think about the parts of the brain that are being activated and used for this director directing this film, directing this movie, directing this piece, whatever they're directing, right? Well, now take a step back, picture that same director teaching, not being on set, not doing all this stuff, but sitting behind a camera and going, okay, now I'm going to teach everybody how to do it. Do you think it's using the same parts of the brain or the same skill set as actually doing it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This for me is why I talk about that I've been an advertising agency executive as a creative director and a business advisor, business mentor to celebrities for over 26 years at this point. And I've been a professor of marketing and business development for over 20 years. Notice the difference, because I didn't become a professor until 2001. And here's what the difference is. There's a different part of your brain that you're using when you are doing something and engaged with an activity. And there's a different part of your brain that you're using when you are teaching it. And just because you know how to do something, it doesn't mean that you know how to teach it. And this is just true. So one of the things that's out there these days in terms of some of this junk food business training is you have a lot of coaches and a lot of thought leaders out there who see this trend in the coaching and mentor industry of people wanting business training. So they decide, oh, they had success as a coach or a mentor or teacher, or maybe they're not teachers, but let's just use the non-teachers for an example here of like a coach or a consultant or an expert or an author or speaker, right? Well, just because you're a coach, consultant, expert, author, or speaker doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to teach that. These are different sides of the brain. These are different skill sets, okay? You can absolutely learn how to do it. You absolutely can, okay? And that one of the things that I actually do with my Empire Builder program at Mentors Tank Academy is I teach experts how to convey their intellectual property and their wisdom into creating ultra high-end signature programs of like 20 to 100K plus per program. So because I'm a professor and I do have that background of teaching teachers, right? I do know how to do that. The thing is that one of the reasons that there's a lot of junk food business training out there in the coaching and mentor industry is because what you have is you have a lot of coaches and consultants who are experts at what they do, but they're not necessarily experts in teaching how to do it. So sometimes what can happen in that instance is, they might have created a lot of success for themselves in their business, but they go to start trying to break it down and actually teach it. Most people don't know why it is that they do what they do. And a lot of entrepreneurs that have had success, they kind of stumble upon a lot of it by experimenting, and not everybody really understands how to break down the actual formulas of what created that for them. So one of the things that happens, in the coaching and mentor business training industry these days, unfortunately, is that you see people who, created success with their own coaching or experts business, and now they go to teach it, and maybe they don't know how to teach, because it's a totally different set of dynamics within the brain. So maybe they sit there and end up talking for 90 minutes and it's just all hype, or it's just all, they're getting people really excited, but then you're like, where are the meat and potatoes of this meal, right? And it's like leaving you hanging. You're like, okay, I'm kind of excited because I'm watching this person's energy, but I don't know what to do, right? Or I don't know what's actionable here, or I don't really know if there was any actual business advice taught here. Okay. So imagine me looking at all this stuff out there. I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, hang on. We have to start with the basics. We have to start with the principles of business, actual business principles. Wow. Imagine that, right? In the coaching and mentor industry. So let's look at that. What are actual business principles that are based on professional business? That's what professional business training is, which is what I do, versus like, what is some of this junk food business training? Well, again, the junk food business training is like putting on glasses and it's got like mud on the glasses because you're trying to build your business by listening to the wrong advice. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen do this. This is one of the reasons I decided to start a business training institute, $1 million mentor school and Mentors Tank Academy, to teach up and coming mentors and thought leaders really how to build brand and launch ultra high end signature programs of like 20 to 100K plus, because there are people out there that want the total solution. Okay. They don't want these appetizer offers. They don't want to have to buy a $27 offer to then go up this value ladder. Some people do, right? Some people want that. They want to, know, like, and trust you. But the thing is that there's not just one way to build a coaching or mentor business. There are many different ways, and it's about doing it in a way that works for you and your personality. And also, like, where you are on the introvert extrovert scale can be a significant factor, when it comes to your business. So when it comes to real world business principles, the first principle I'm just going to talk here about is strategy. Like I was mentioning earlier, most people are just deploying tactic after tactic after tactic, and they lack this overall strategy. So what's the difference and how does this look? Well, here's an example. One of the best examples that I can think about here is a prospective client who I talked to several years back. And she was a New York Times bestselling author, very famous, millions of followers. I do have celebrity clients as well that also I help them to build their mentor empires. And I've got I have very limited availability in my private programs, and those are typically just reserved for celebrities. But, because some celebrities really need to like evolve and well, celebrities always need to be evolving. But some want to actually create mentor empires and coaching empires and things like that. So I help celebrities do that as well in my private programs when I have availability. And I have some group training programs as well as some kind of VIP options for up and coming thought leaders, up and coming coaches and mentors who really want to get more of the word out about what it is that they do. And when it comes to building and getting clients and bringing in business, I had this woman that I talked to a few years ago. She already had some celebrity status. However, it wasn't really, it wasn't monetizing. Okay. It wasn't monetizing for her. This is one of the biggest secrets of the celebrities that most people don't know about, is that like, just because you're a celebrity, it doesn't mean you're making money. It doesn't mean that you have a lot of money, because as a celebrity, you have attention, but even celebrities need to get intentional attention on their products or their businesses. I mean, look at, there's boy bands from the 80s and 90s, right? Who have liquor lines at this point. Why do they have liquor lines if they're still making bank with their music? Because they're not. I'm just being real. Celebrity is a business term for me, and all it means is that a lot of people know about your business. And what I teach people how to do is to make it so that the right people know about your business. So back to this story with this lady who contacted me. We're on the phone. She's like, Wildflower, I just need more people. She's like, I need more clients, and I just need more people to see my website. Can you help me get more people to my website? And I said, well, let me take a look at your website. So I popped it up and I looked at her website, and I looked at it and I was like, very underwhelming. And here's what I meant. I don't mean that a website needs to be over the top. What a website does need to be is ultra niched. The viewer needs to understand what it is that's in it for them. Okay. And today, there are so many people making just these static brochure websites where they're like, here are my services, buy them. Okay. How does that work? Well, you're here for a reason. Doesn't work very well, does it? No. So that's what this lady had. She was a New York Times bestselling author. And just so you know, New York Times, NYT bestselling authors, it trumps all the others. Okay. Amazon, like all the different like book houses, everything. NYT, New York Times bestselling author, trumps. So here's the thing. She thought that all she needed to have, because she had this junk food business training, right? Where she had mud on the glasses, okay? She thought that all she needed to do was get eyeballs on her website. In the advertising industry, we call them eyeballs on. We're like, okay, how many eyeballs are on this? How many eyeballs are on that? So I'm teaching you a little bit of behind the scenes of the ad world here too. So this is what she thought. She wanted clients. So she calls me up because she knows that I've owned an advertising agency since 1997. And my ad agency, VIP Global Media, was one of the very first digital marketing and website development agencies in the country, actually, back in the horse and buggy days of the interwebs back in 1997. Yes, I had a vision that the future of business was going to be run online. They thought I was crazy, but they don't think so anymore. So I stuck with it, steadfast and steady. So she knew the background with that. These days we only do really done for you services for celebrities, and some with our VIP programs as well. So I've really more focused on teaching these days within the spectrum of business development. And so I'm talking with this lady. She's already a celebrity, right? She's got best-selling books, New York Times bestseller. She's thinking all she needs is eyeballs on her website. And I said, look, we can get more people to your website, but that's not going to fix your problem. And she was like, what? This did not compute to her. Why? Because she had done some business training where people were telling her all that needed to happen was she needed to get more eyeballs on her stuff. That's why her coaching programs weren't selling. So if I didn't mention this already, which I don't think I did, she's a New York Times bestselling author, been on every media outlet you can imagine, all the morning shows, the national, international shows, networks, everything. She started branching into creating coaching programs around her methodologies in personal development. Okay. So she wasn't getting clients. She wasn't getting coaching and mentor clients, even though she's famous, even though she's a New York Times bestselling author, even though she's got millions and millions of followers. So she just thought, so she's on the phone with me. She's like, okay, I just need eyeballs on my site. I go to her site and I see that actually what's going on her site is that it's not ultra niched. It wasn't actually dialed in to show her clients what's in it for them. It was just her. It was, here, I'm a best-selling author. I'm a this. Here's my coaching program. Buy it. There was no educational indoctrination sequence. There was no free masterclass for them to watch. There was no, she just didn't have a client journey built in. And then, but the foundation, so that's a top, one of the other layers, one of the top layers. But the bottom layer, the foundational component that was lacking for her is that she lacked a celebrity style personal brand within her coaching or mentor business. Okay. You see, she had a celebrity style personal brand when it came to being out there as a thought leader in the world, in personal development, being on all kinds of TV talk shows and things like that, right? And a best-selling author. So people were buying her books, but they weren't buying her coaching and mentoring programs. So, that's the first thing I said to her. I said, look, you might have some status built up, but unless that status is around, being a thought leader in the mentor and coaching way, it wasn't going to result into clients. So I told her that we could get millions of people to her website with SEO, but it wouldn't matter because it wouldn't create conversions, because it's not about numbers, it's about substance. And most people are out there these days in the coaching and mentor business training world, teaching just tactics. Now, not all of it's junk food. I think there are plenty of solid people out there that are teaching, some really great advisement. One of the things, though, that I really looked for is a gap, right? I was like, where is a gap in the marketplace? Because I am a maverick entrepreneur. I own several businesses. The coaching and mentor industry is just one. Okay. I also own a record label. I own a music company and a mystical entertainment company, WildFlower Mystical Entertainment. And that company has been providing high-end, ultra high-end event entertainment services for over 2 decades as well. So I'm a maverick entrepreneur. So I come in and I look at any business and I'm like, where's the gap, right? Where's the gap in the marketplace? And is there a need for this? So I looked online. I'm like, what are all these people teaching? Like, why are they teaching, all this junk food business advice? It's not about toxic positivity. It's not about sitting there and just feeling as good as you possibly can in every single moment, and then the clients will come. Really? Because I didn't learn that in business school, right? I mean, it's just true. So it can be a part of things. I love energy. I love, high vibe. I love working with that energy of the high vibe and really keeping things in a place that is positive. However, you don't have to sit there and and all the time constantly think that if something isn't working in your business, it's because you're not thinking hard enough, or you're not vibrating hard enough, or whatever, right? There are practical elements and practical things that need to be put into place in your business to really create traction. So what was really lacking for this woman that I'm referring to, who already had some of the celebrity status built up in another area, was she was lacking a foundational component, which was what I call a celebrity style personal brand, that is ultra niched. That's ultra and a niche. This is not just niching for niching's sake. This is not just throwing a dart at a dartboard and going, oh, whatever shall I target as an audience? Or, oh, what do I want to teach right now? No, my gods, I hear this stuff and I am just like, what, how are these people like learning junk food business training? Okay. I am telling you, it's crazy, because what it does is it makes people think that they're actually like being productive in their business, but they're not, because they're not doing things in their business. They're not taking the action that'll actually count towards something. They're doing busy work. Or, again, junk food business training, it's like having a pair of glasses and you have mud on them and you're trying to see through with this mud. And, that's a really hard way to build your business, right? So when I really, then this lady was like, okay, well, what would you advise, right? Because she, at that point, I had schooled her on the fact that she didn't need more eyeballs on her website, because she could put her services, she could put her services page, and here's my coaching services, in front of millions of people, and they weren't going to buy it. They weren't. Why? because she didn't have a celebrity style personal brand as the foundational component for getting clients. That's number one. You must have a celebrity style personal brand in your niche industry, which essentially has authority built in, right? If you don't have authority within your personal branding, it doesn't matter how many people see that you're offering coaching or mentor services. Because if you don't have an authority personal brand, they're not going to know that you're actually an expert at what it is you do. So what is a celebrity style personal brand, and how, is this applicable for people who are not my superstar clients like Michael Douglas? Yes. Okay. It's different. So people like my clients, Michael Douglas, Anna Nicole Smith, and many others that I've worked with for a number of years, these are people that we call household names. Okay. In the ad world, in the business world, we call them household names. So there's household industry celebrity status, and then there is industry celebrity status. Now, these are both very important. Not everybody is going to make it to household name. Just telling you, that's how it is. Okay. Very few make it to there. Some do. I have helped some of those that you're seeing out in the world today. Okay. Because that's part of my genius zone. Again, I'm not a good cook. But business and celebrity branding, that's my jam. So household name, Oprah, Tom Cruise, people like that. Industry celebrity, though. Industry celebrity, think about your favorite business book, right? You ever heard of The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey? Yeah. Well, he is an industry celebrity. Stephen Covey, industry celebrity, right? Is he going to be recognized in the grocery store? Probably not. Is he going to be recognized when he goes to a business conference? Oh, yeah, right? He is, because he's got that clout, right? He's got that credibility that he's built up, and it portrays into his brand, into his personal brand. So when I was talking with this lady about, and she's already a celebrity, with millions of followers in a certain way, but these millions of followers don't know that she was now starting a coaching business and training programs around her personal development methodologies, right? And so she asked me what were next steps. She's like, okay, if eyeballs on my website is not going to be the thing that's going to bring me more clients, what is, right? And I said, look, we need to start with the foundation. And this is what I mean by business principles. I talked about business principles earlier, right? Well, one of the biggest business principles is that you have to start with a foundation. I mean, this is common sense to me, but it's so surprising, even to me in this day and age, how little common sense there is in the mentor and coaching business training industry. This is why I call a lot of it junk food business training, because there's very little common sense in it. So I am a professor of marketing and business development. So I come at business training in the coaching and mentor industry from a, business principles perspective. So business principles are very common sense, right? It's based on common sense because that's how things are actionable. The more complicated you make things in business, the harder it is to sustain. This is a fact, okay? This is why when people are scaling their businesses, they really work to have very simple systems in place. Now, simple doesn't always mean easy, but it does mean simple. So if you think about a house, right? What do they start with first? Do they go and clear the land and go, let's put up the walls, shall we? And then let's put some siding on those walls and let's put up a roof, right? What would happen if they did that? Well, let's see. If they had doors on it, you would open up the door and then you would see a dirt floor, right? Because it's lacking a foundation. This is how most coaches and mentors are out there building their businesses. Why? Because there is so much junk food business training that's like mud on your glasses, on your business glasses, right? That's out there that's teaching you need to come at it from a tactical perspective first, rather than a strategy perspective, or, trying to teach you so many tactics at once and telling you to implement all of them, that it's confusing, right? So let's think about this. In order to build a house, what's the best place to start with? I think you got it, the foundation, right? The foundation. You're going to start with the foundation. You're going to lay that cement foundation there. Or if you live in the Midwest, where I'm from, we have basements, right? They don't have them down in Nevada. I was very surprised when I got my first house. I was like, where's the basement? They don't have them here. I'm like, okay. So either way, you're going to start with a basement foundation or just the foundation of the house, right? That's how you're going to start. And then what you do is build upon that. So when I was talking with this lady who, is just looking for more coaching clients, right? I told her that the place to start is with her personal branding, because when you know who you're talking to and you know how to understand their language, and you know that this person that you're talking to in your target audience, they have needs, right? As a professional or as a person, they have needs. And what your personal branding needs to do is not be all about you. I'm going to say this one more time. Your personal branding needs to be not all about you. Your personal brand, when done properly, is all about who you are to your ideal client. You see, there's a huge, huge, huge difference. It's a huge difference. It's a fundamental difference. And it is something that most people are out there lacking, which is why a lot of people are struggling as coaches and mentors to get clients, because they need a good foundation. They need a celebrity, expert, authority, personal brand that really establishes them as an expert in their industry. Now, does this mean that you're going to be a household name? Not necessarily. I have helped people become that. It's not right for everybody. And frankly, not everybody wants it. Some people just want clients. They want to be, they just want to be in their own little corner of the universe and get clients, right? Well, think about, again, Stephen Covey, author of 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. He has industry celebrity. So he is seen as an expert, leader. If I replace the word celebrity with leader, it feels a little more comfortable to some people. To me, celebrity is a business term. It's connected to evolutionary psychology, because my emphasis when it comes to business and brand development, as well as marketing, is actually psychology and evolutionary psychology. What does evolutionary psychology have to do with business? OMG, everything. Because in business, people look to leaders, right, to lead them to the water, to the food, to the shelter, to the news, to the whatever, right? Because they're looking to keep their edge. So look back, thousands of years ago, evolutionary psychology, who did people look to for info on food, shelter, water, and news? Well, leaders, right? So in today's world, those who are visible in either the global spectrum of like household names, or, with an industry spectrum, they're referred to as celebrities, right? And this is why you have people like Oprah and Tom Cruise. Are they going to be recognized at a grocery store? Absolutely. Not by everybody, because not everybody, has probably seen them. But, they're considered what we call a household name. Whereas, in your industry, you might just be somebody who wants clients, right? You just might be like, I want to stay in my own corner of the universe, but I want more clients. So the thing is that, the principles are the same. So we could really interchange the word celebrity with leader, because when you're seen as a leader with expert authority status within your niche industry, that's how one of the reasons and one of the ways that people get to know, like, and trust you is they see that. Okay. So this is why for this woman that I'm giving as an example here, it wasn't just a matter of having more eyeballs on her website. It's not just a matter of more people seeing your offer for most coaches and mentors. It's actually a clockwork client acquisition system that they're lacking, with a solid foundational piece. So if you think about a clock, right? You've got the foundation of the clock, just like a house. So the foundation of a clock is, everything's, is on top of, and then you've got all the gears that are underneath it, right? All the cogs and wheels. So the foundation of the clock is like what I refer to as a celebrity style personal brand. Okay. Celebrity, expert, authority, personal brand. That's the clock face. That's what you're looking at, right? And then the gears underneath it are the cogs and wheels and levers and everything that makes it all go, which is a client acquisition system. It's a symphony. You don't have a symphony with just one element, do you? No. But this is why there's so much junk food business training out there, because some of it could actually be actionable, but the thing is that many people don't understand the actual sequence that you need to implement these different factors within your coaching or mentor business in order to get clients. So the first thing to start with is a celebrity, expert, style, personal brand, a celebrity, authority, leadership brand. You start with that, and then from there you teach clients how you help them, right? You don't give them a bunch of Band-Aid solutions in the form of tips. If you're sitting there giving them tip after tip after tip, it can actually devalue your brand. Now, tips can be a great way of like indoctrinating people, but it really depends on how you're implementing it. And it needs to be part of this whole symphony of a clockwork client acquisition system. So what ended up being the solution for this lady that I'm talking about? Well, what ended up being a solution for her is actually a complete overhaul of her personal brand, as well as helping her to create a clockwork client acquisition system. Because she needed to evolve her actual personal brand itself so that it was really speaking to the clients of hers that were, to her ideal clients, to what I call her destiny clients, right? And what she needed to do was she needed to learn their language. She didn't know their language. She did not understand their language. She was just like, I'm going to teach you how to love your life. And I'm like, no, you're not. She's like, what? She was kind of weirded out because she's a celebrity and most people don't challenge them. They're used to a lot of like yes people around them. They're used to like, a lot of CEOs are like that too, right? Where they're used to being the smartest person in the room, and then they meet me and it's like, oh wait, they're not the smartest in the room anymore. It's not that it's a competition. It's that it doesn't matter to me where somebody is at in terms of their fame. There's always a next level. Always a next level. Okay. No matter where it's at. So with this lady that I'm talking about here, it really came down to overhauling her personal brand and then teaching her how to understand her client's language. So, and that's actually knowing how to understand what your client's language and how they actually speak. Like, I can't even tell you how many people do this wrong, because your clients talk about their problems in a very different way than you probably talk about their problems. For example, take a doctor, right? A doctor going to medical school, like a trillion years, right? To go to medical school. So you take a doctor and you look at medical textbooks, right? I mean, my God, it's the jargon and the words and everything that they have to learn in order to, get a medical degree. It's vast, right? Now, here's the thing. There's, a little thing they call bedside manner, and being able to, talk to people how they need to hear you. Imagine going into a doctor's office and that doctor speaking to you like they're reading from a medical textbook, and they're like calling things like athlete's foot by its like formal name and then not like breaking it down for you, right? This is how most people are out there trying to sell their coaching and mentor services. They're out there talking from their own technician and expert speak, right? And your clients don't need expert speak. Your clients need to know that you get them. Your clients need to understand that you get them and that you understand them, and that you know how to how to help them create the lasting solutions, not just the Band-Aid solutions. Okay. but the lasting solutions. So, when it comes to understanding and learning how to really communicate to your destiny clients and really start to, learn the language, right? Really learn the language of your destiny clients. Well, that's one of the things that I'm actually doing in my $1 million client boot camp for coaches, mentors, and service providers. So this is day one of the $1 million coaching clients challenge. And I've got some cool bonuses here for those of you who reach out to book a call for applying for the $1 million client boot camp for coaches, mentors, and service providers. So what we're doing is we have the $1 million client boot camp, right? And in the $1 million client boot camp, what it is it's a 4-week program. And during the 4-week program, I'm teaching you the fundamentals, okay? The foundations of what it is that you need to do to start getting clients in your business this month within 4 weeks. Okay. That's why it's a boot camp. We're hitting the ground running. So one of the things that we're going to be diving deeply into in the 4-week $1 million client boot camp is how to talk to your clients, how to speak their language, right? Because, you can sit there and try to think about it, right? But it's like, it's, if you think about a doctor, right, they actually have classes in medical school on how to communicate to patients. Because why? Why did they do this? Because doctors need to understand the technical terms. And so do you. As a coach or a mentor, you need to understand the technical terms and the technical methodologies that you need to use with your clients in order to create change for them, or in order to help them create change in their lives or their businesses, right? But here is the difference. The difference is that your clients are looking at you from their perspective, and they are not technicians. They are not experts in what you do. And so if they're listening to you with your expert speak, talking about, all these different things that they need to say, you're getting lost in translation. You see, most coaches and mentors these days are getting lost in translation because they're coming at talking about their services and their programs, their coaching, their group training programs, private training programs, whatever it is that they're offering, right? They're coming at it from pitching it to people from this expert speak perspective, what I call expert speak. But that's not how your clients need to hear you talk in order to create conversions, because a coaching or mentor business doesn't last long unless you have clients coming in, right? And that's one of my areas of expertise, because I've been a business mentor for over 26 years. And so understanding their language is one of the fundamental pieces that we're actually covering in the $1 million client boot camp. And so really learning how to, speak the language of your clients is one of the things that we dive deeply into. So right now, let's see here. We have a really cool thing that we're doing for the $1 million client boot camp right now. If you are curious to see if the $1 million client boot camp is a fit for you, comment boot camp below this video, or follow the link that's on this page, because when it comes to getting clients like clockwork, there are certain fundamental pieces that you must have in place. There are fundamental strategies that you must have in place before you deploy a bunch of tactics. And there's also a sequencing. There's a different order that needs to happen in order to create what I call conversions, right? Because a lot of people are out there, they're getting eyeballs on what they're doing, right? They're meeting people, they're talking to people about what they're doing. And what I'm seeing is that, just because you're meeting and talking to people, look, if it's not creating the conversions, where you're not getting the clients that, the amount of clients that you want to in your business, it's because there are things that are broken in your strategy and your tactics. And it might just be a matter of having a solid foundation of a personal brand, or it might be, a combination of personal branding. It's oftentimes a personal branding thing. What is a personal brand? A personal brand is anything and everything that represents you as a person or a professional in the online worlds, in the offline worlds, anywhere you show up professionally. And so it's not just logos or websites or fonts or the colors in your website and stuff like that. That's a part, right, of your personal brand. But your personal brand is really, it's everything from your makeup to what you wear to what you post on your social media, what's on your website, all of that. And oftentimes it's one of the foundational components involved when it comes to really getting and attracting clients. So in the $1 Million Client Bootcamp, what we're doing is we are touching base and we're helping you look at this, the personal branding, what you're out there as well as how are you talking to your clients. Okay. So we've got a multi-pronged approach for what it is that we are actually doing in the bootcamp, because when it comes down to it, you can take all the time in the universe to build your business. You've got 24 hours a day, right? And if you are doing things in the wrong way, well, you can fill up all those 24 hours in a day with tactics and strategy. But if you're not doing them in the right way, or with message clarity, which is what we focus on in the first masterclass inside of the $1 Million Client Bootcamp, you're going to be, wasting your time. And so, today's program with day one here of the $1 Million Coaching Client Challenge is really about, how to work smarter and not harder. And so, this is just a touch base on basically helping you diagnose what's wrong in your business is what this challenge is about, right? This 5-day challenge is about helping you look at and define, where are these areas that you need to evolve in your business. And what I'm doing in the $1 Million Client Bootcamp is actually helping you solve these problems, because I can't sit here right now and help you solve all these problems. Right now, this is about diagnosing. See, this is a diagnostic university, because if you don't understand what the biggest problems are in your business, you don't know what to take away. You see, this is what's happening for so many people out there. They just keep adding more and more and more onto their to-do list as a coach or mentor, right? And they're out there, they don't know who to trust, because everyone and their mother is calling themselves a business coach. And I'm like, okay, it's interesting. I'm actually a professor of marketing and have been a business mentor specifically for over 26 years. So I find it interesting that people without business degrees are calling themselves that, or people without decades of experience. But it is what it is. I mean, only you can decide for yourself, right? Like what that means for you in terms of who you're going to listen to. So this 5-day challenge is all about helping you to really, discern, what's up with your business. Why aren't you getting clients? Because if you don't understand why you're not getting the kind of clients that you want into your business, you can learn all the things you want to in the universe, but you might just try to pile a bunch of stuff onto a bunch of stuff that's not working, onto a bunch of tactics that aren't working in your business. And if you do that, well, how do you expand each day to 48 hours? I don't know. Here's the thing. You only have so much time in the day. So as a coach or a mentor, in order to get clients, you need to work smarter, not harder. I'm finding that there's a lot of coaches and mentors out there these days that are spending so much time on building their business, but they're doing it from this perspective of they're wearing they've been through a lot of junk food business training. So feel good in the moment, but then they go to implement and it's not working, or they don't know what to implement because they can't even see actionable advice through hours and hours of material, because a lot of it's hype, right? So that's like wearing a pair of glasses again with mud on it. Okay. And this 5-day $1 Million Coaching Client Challenge is about helping you to basically clear off these glasses with the mud that's on them, right? You need to clear off, you need to understand why things aren't working in your business in order to, then make them work, because again, you can't just pile on, new things onto a broken system. You need to overhaul from the bottom up, from the foundation up. So that's what we're really doing inside of the $1 Million Client Bootcamp is we're actually teaching you, and I'm going through step by step and showing you how to really implement. So in the first masterclass, it's a 4-week boot camp, the $1 Million Client Bootcamp, 4-week boot camp. In the first masterclass, we're talking about message clarity. We're helping you to decide the primary problem you solve, the secondary problem you solve, and help you actually figure out what you're actually selling, because you're probably not selling what you think you're selling. Okay. As in, you're coming at it from an expert speak perspective, but your clients are not technicians and they're not experts at what you are. Otherwise, they wouldn't need your services. So your clients need to hear, your clients are actually buying something different from you than you've probably been selling. And so you need to understand what you're really selling. And this is what we do in the first masterclass inside of the $1 Million Client Bootcamp. Now, that's week 1. Week 2, we're talking about social media conversion secrets and how to create compelling social media content to drive conversion of viewers into clients, because again, your client speaks a different language than you do. And you need to learn how to talk about what you do in a language that your clients can understand, because one of the reasons that you are not getting the coaching or mentor clients that you are looking for is that your message is getting lost in translation. Okay. And they call me the celebrity empire builder, because I help people to really translate their fields and their areas of expertise into actionable content, into actionable branding, into actionable websites and implementation. And, a lot of people, again, they're used to being the smartest person in the room until they meet me. And, there's no competition in terms of intelligence at all, because I believe, that when you're highly intelligent, it's actually a wonderful thing to be around others who are highly intelligent. So it's a wonderful thing, to be around those who can understand you. That's really what it is. And oftentimes my clients are actually so smart that their intelligence is actually working against them, because they come up with a lot of ideas, right? The smarter you are, the more ideas you generate, the more you come up with. Then, okay, let's just say that's like also mud on your glasses, right? Because you're like throwing all the stuff onto you, going, oh, I should do this week. Oh, I should do this. I should do this. And pretty soon you can't even see, because your glasses are all filled with mud. Some from junk food business training, and some from just being a highly intelligent person and a creative person, right? And so then you're coming up with all these ideas, and then you're putting way too much on your to-do list, and you're not putting the most effective things on your to-do list. Okay. So, and when you can understand how to actually speak your client's language, you can take some of those things off your to-do list and actually breathe in your business. Because when you know how to speak to your clients, you're able to create conversions. Now, in the third week, in the third masterclass inside of the $1 Million Client Bootcamp, you're going to be learning how to create an ultra niched client attraction education tool, aka lead magnet, to give away to prospective clients. Now, I know. I have heard 1,000,005 people say, oh, I have a lead magnet. And I'm like, okay. So how is the client generation going? And they're like, okay, it's crickets. Or maybe they're getting traction, but maybe they're not scaling. And that's when I say, well, guess what? There's more than one way to make a lead magnet. And a lot of people are surprised at this, because they hear the term and then they assume that there is some kind of standard out in the world, in the business training space, in the coaching and mentor industry. Well, there is now that I created one. It's called the Mentors Association. Okay. That is an industry standard. Again, BBB for the coaching and mentor business industry. is the Mentors Association, which is my organization that I created to create industry standards. Okay. However, when it comes, so that's there. It's a part of our part of the WildFlower Global Universe here, and Wild Empire Nation. And so the thing about it is that when it comes to lead magnets, there's not a standard. There's not a standard. I've created my standards, which are high, right? I'm used to, I have a professional background, and being a business advisor to celebrities. So my standards are very high when it comes to business development, because you want to really put your best foot forward in business. Okay. So when it comes to building and getting clients and creating conversions, when you have a lead magnet or an ultra niched client attraction education tool to give away to prospective clients, it needs to be translated into their language. And just because you have one, it doesn't mean it's necessarily the best one. And just because you have one, it doesn't mean you can't have more than one as well. So when it comes to lead magnets, you really want to have one that's going to be what I call ultra niched. And what that means is that it's really highly dialed in, highly focused. This is not about creating a life you love, okay? Because I'm going to be real. That is so fluffy. Creating a life you love. Okay, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. It means something different to everybody, but it's too general. It's too broad. Most people are out there. This is one of the problems that a lot of coaches and mentors are having these days, is that their info is too broad. They're talking about how to have the life you love, how to create a great life, how to create a great business. Okay, that sounds great, but how? This is where your message is getting lost in translation. Because if you're out there saying this kind of stuff to people, right? Because the big leagues guys are, right? Tony's out there, Dean is out there, Oprah's out there. They're talking about things from this love your life perspective, this big, broad perspective. Okay, well, do you have $1 billion to put towards your marketing? Because if you do, I can help you get clients in that broad space. But if you don't have a lot of, if you don't have billions of dollars to put towards your marketing, you're going to need to ultra niche. So your lead magnet itself, your giveaway, it needs to be ultra niched. Okay. And so that's what we're doing in week 3 inside of the $1 Million Client Bootcamp. And then in week 4, what we're actually doing is teaching you how to really build out these different aspects of your client journey. Because when you have a client journey that is really working for you in your business, what happens is that you have a business that works for you and not against you. So in the 4th week, we're going to be talking about the different types of client journeys and how to really create a client journey that works for you, for your personality, and that also works for your clients. And here's what I mean by this. So a lot of people are out there these days teaching this whole funnel up sequence thing, right? They say start with the micro offer, then go to the mid tier, then go to the high end. So it goes something like this. They're saying start with a $5 offer, then go to a $200 offer, then go to a $2,000 offer, right? And a lot of people are leaving it at that. And then the whole high end thing that they're calling it these days is like, oh, okay, then go to a $5,000 offer. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I take that and I wipe that away. That is its own thing. It can work for some people, but there's a lot of moving pieces with that. If you have a lot of staff, wonderful. If you don't, then you might want to rethink that. So there's a way of coming at things from the ultra high end, which to me, ultra high end is $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 plus. There are people out there that are willing to pay those rates for total solutions. They're not just paying those rates because they want to get rid of their money. They're paying those rates because they want total solutions, not Band-Aid solutions. They want a full meal with what they're doing, training, what they're getting, coaching or mentorship from you for. They want a full meal. They don't want appetizers. They don't want to piece together a meal. They're hungry. They want the total solution. They don't want to like have tapas, appetizers in order to, in order to satisfy their hunger. Okay. And so that's what we're doing in week 4 in the $1 Million Client Bootcamp is I'm teaching you these different ways, the 3 different types of client journeys and program tier offering strategies for coaches and mentors that'll work with your personality and not against it. You see, some people, their lowest yes is 25K. Some people, their lowest yes is 100K. For some people, their lowest yes, they want to start at the $1. They want to do a $1 freebie or a $5 freebie. And what's right for you? Well, that's a longer conversation. I'm not going to answer that in 5 minutes because it's a longer conversation. It's not a 5-minute conversation because a 5-minute conversation is something that's just static and, general for everybody. But this really depends on what your personality is, what kind of staff you have on hand to work with. Are you really empire driven? Meaning, are you building an empire? Where are your goals? Do you want to take things in your business to high 7 or 8 figures? Or do you want to stay smaller than that? There's no one way that's right. You see, and that's one of the things in the coaching and mentor industry that's out there these days is there's so many people teaching mentor business development from this perspective of that they're saying that there's only one right way to do it. Well, there's not. There's many different right ways to do it, but there's one right way for you. There's one right way for you right now with what you have in terms of your resources. And then there's a right way for your future. Right? And what's actually going to flow with your personality and make it so that you can have a life too while building your business. So in week 4 inside of the $1 Million Client Bootcamp, we're focusing on teaching you the different types of client journeys to look at so that you can have a strategy behind your program tier offerings in a way, again, that makes sense for you and your personality so that you can have your life and own your business while having a life too. So if you are curious to see if you are a fit for the $1 Million Client Bootcamp, comment bootcamp below this video or follow the link on this page. We've got some really cool and fun bonuses that are going on at different points. So stay tuned for details on that. And this concludes our day 1 of the $1 Million Coaching Client Challenge, where today we talked about, how to work smarter, not harder, and how to tell what the difference is between junk food business training and professional business training as well. And before I go, I'm actually going to mention one more thing here. I am on the lookout for a few good mentors to feature on my Mentors Tank TV show. And Mentors Tank, it's not right for everybody. I'm just going to be real. Mentors Tank itself. So the $1 Million Client Bootcamp is open to coaches and mentors, whether they're beginning or not, okay? Whether they're seasoned, I work with a lot of seasoned entrepreneurs and beginning entrepreneurs in my $1 Million Client Bootcamp program. So you can be a beginner or advanced for the $1 Million Client Bootcamp program. Now, for my Mentors Tank Academy Empire Builder program, this is specifically where I'm looking for a few good experienced mentors because I'm looking. So for my Empire Builder program at Mentors Tank Academy, I am helping experienced coaches and mentors really create the ultra high-end programs, so 20K, 50K, 100K plus, and we're actually building out all the structures for that, as well as building the client acquisition system during my 12-week Empire Builder program. And one of the cool things about this is that I'm actually filming the progress that my clients are making, and while they're on their journey with me. So we're filming the business transformation that they have, and we're airing it, showcasing it on my TV show called Mentors Tank. So I am looking for a few good coaches and mentors to feature on my TV show and to help get clients with creating the ultra high-end systems, as well as this is really that total business solution for experienced coaches and mentors. So if you are interested, curious to see if you're a fit about that, I'll have my assistant go ahead and reach out to you with some more details on how to apply for that. You can comment mentor below this video, or reach out, send us a message, and one of my staff members will get back to you with the details on how to apply. And just so you know, here's what the difference is. My Mentors Tank Academy Empire Builder program is a 12-week program. It's a total solution. It's really coming at it from a celebrity branding perspective, helping you gain more traction and celebrity status within your niche industry, as well as creating the ultra high-end programs and understanding client language, putting and implementing all of those systems in, as well as featuring you on my TV show if you are accepted. Not everybody is. So just so you know, that's an application process for the Empire Builder program. And so the difference between that and the $1 Million Client Bootcamp is the $1 Million Client Bootcamp, you can be at any level of beginner or experience when it comes to being a coach or a mentor. And we're specifically focusing, it's a boot camp program. It's a 4-week program where we're specifically focused on helping you get some next clients in the door and building some foundational elements of it. It's one of those things that it can get you really started in that direction. Whereas the Empire Builder program, we're doing that and more as well. So which one is right for you? If you don't know and you're curious about which one might be right for you, you can comment both mentor and bootcamp below, and we'll have you chat with one of our staff members and fill out an application. And we'll kind of, take a look at what it is you have in your business, where you've been with your business, what your target audience is, and see what makes sense from there. So, join us tomorrow. Join us in the next episode here for the $1 Million Coaching Client Challenge. And today I'm going to be signing off from day 1 from our $1 Million Coaching Client Challenge. So cheers to love, health, wealth, and the time to enjoy it. Till next time.